Hi, I'm Ken, and I'm on a road trip. Greetings, everyone, from Death Valley, California. It is December 2020, and the last time that I was here was in March 1984. It's a little bit different now than it was then. It's very, very quiet. Not that it wasn't quiet then, but it was a different type of quiet. Back then I was with two friends and we were embarking on a mini bicycle tour, and it ended up being quite an adventure. A lot of memories coming up for me as I drive around and I see the different places that we rode and the different things that happened to us, and can't understand where the last 30-something years went. But those years also have been full of more adventures. And I know there's a lot more adventures still waiting on the horizon for me. We experienced our share of surprises back in 1984. We learned firsthand why they call Death Valley, land of contrasts, land of extremes. We were cycling with shorts and t-shirts, and little did we know that the following day we were going to be in the middle of a snowstorm. Yes, I got hypothermia, and I learned a lesson from that. And even though we were scared, middle of nowhere, not knowing what was going on, it was still an adventure, and there were times when we just giggled through the most stressful of moments. And I think that's really important. I think we need to live each day like these are the good old days that we are going to look back on in the future. How can you go wrong if you go through your life wanting every day to count? Not necessarily making every day better than the next, but just have it so that when you move on in life and you look back on this time period, you don't look at it with regret, with remorse. You look at it with satisfaction. And that's why I coined the phrase, live today as if these are going to be the good old days that you look back on in the future. I just drove my car up from Stovepipe Wells over Nemo Crest. This is where we rode our bicycles with shorts and t-shirts and had this great, wonderful day. Even stopped along the way, Peterborough. Anyway, the next day, things weren't quite so great. Woke up, the weather had changed. I'm at Wild Rose Campground now. What stands out for me is when we left this campground on our bicycles, it was so windy, we could not ride. It took us 4 or 5 hours to walk our bikes up to the top of the pass. And it wasn't fun. We were both really hating life. At one point, my friend told me underneath her bandana she was crying and just didn't want me to know that. But as tough as that was, I think that experience is one of my fondest memories. And when I look back at all the places I've traveled, the people I've been with, and the things that have happened to me, this stands out as being a huge moment back in my good old days. So how can we make today a good old day when we're in the middle of this huge spike with COVID-19 and campgrounds and restaurants and society has just kind of been shut down? I think no matter where we are or what's going on in our life, we're still able to try to find something to make today a good old day, and one that we'll look back on sometime in the future. I had several vacations canceled this year. I had just huge shift in focus in what my role at work is. I had a lot of parties and get-togethers, things that are very traditional every year, had to be changed or canceled. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't make the best of every situation. And I'm hoping that someday I look back on 2020 and don't see it as a dark period in my life or a dark period in the world. I hope I look back on 2020 and look at it as a good old day where some of us had to be a little bit more creative in order to have the times that we had. And in being creative and following through made those times more special. So I'm going to enjoy the view here for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to head on down the road and try to pick up some more memories down at the Kern River. Yeah, everything's kind of quiet and shut on lockdown now, but I'm keeping to myself. I got my mask, I got my food, I got my memories, and I have my opportunities. So make this a good one. See you down the road.